Welcome back to the Deep Digger Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Drop some comments below. We got playoff football, baby.
Yes. We are talking these Saturday games. First one is Chargers Texans. Herbert going out there, seeing what he could do with Harbaugh in his first season back, leading them to the playoffs. Texans, CJ Stroud. He hasn't really, been the same, but he's gotten there. 10 wins, won the division, bad division. But I feel like he hasn't looked the same without all of his weapons. So who are you feeling got the edge in this matchup right now?
You want to say that the team that in the preseason, everyone was like, okay, this is like a dark horse Super Bowl team. Like, we've seen what they did in year one. We think that they're going to be even better this year in the Houston Texans. You want to say that team. But realistically, I just don't know how good they are. Like, I think they have taken a step back because of the injuries, because of there has been a little bit of a sophomore slump from CJ Stroud that we've seen. And now Justin Herbert has this guy in Jim Harbaugh that completely believes in him, that wants to take a lot off of his shoulders and let him thrive when needs to, that knows that if you draft meat and potatoes over the skill guys, that it will be successful. I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I also had to go Chargers here, and not just because of like what they got going on there. I think the Texans have. I mean, there's been games where they haven't looked good this season, and they're really lucky that they play in like the worst division in football right now, and yes, CJ Stroud. I saw something where it was like since week 9 he's been like a bottom. He was like the 28th ranked quarterback. It was in some stat. I don't know, but he's been really bad this second half of the season specifically. And I think when he doesn't have all the weaponry that he had in the beginning, where it was like, okay, who's gonna go off? Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Joe Mixon had a great year, but it seems like kind of tapered off at the end for like impact wise of them looking at like a great offense. Um, the defense, I don't know if they can contain Justin Herbert. Dobbins has been running well. Lad McConkey had a great year. So I think Chargers should be favored heavily in this game. And I don't see them really getting outside of a secure game plan. And really, Justin Herbert doesn't turn the ball over. I think he has 3 interceptions on the season. I don't see them giving the Texans a lot of opportunity to really run away with this game.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I mean, the Houston Texans have just been a weird team the entire season. They have a win over the Buffalo Bills, which the Buffalo Bills look like the cream of the crop of the AFC. But they also have, they just got spanked on Christmas by the Ravens. They only scored 2 points. So it's like you have your good, you have your bad. Which Houston Texan team is going to show up? I think ultimately the San Diego, fuck, I keep saying San Diego. It's LA. The LA Chargers with Jim Harbaugh just have a different feel to them moving forward. And if you are a team like the Chicago Bears, who just fired their head coach, and the Las Vegas Raiders, who just fired their head coach, you've got to be kicking yourself because you were linked to this guy last season and you didn't pull the trigger. And look at this guy came in and at every single junction that he's been at, he has set up and won. And you've got to be kicking yourself because you didn't want that. And instead, you let him go to the Chargers, and he's completely turned it around. And you've got to feel, if you're a Charger fan, you've got to feel amazing because not only are we in this position, but we're in a pretty good position to make a deep playoff run. It starts with this game here, and I think that this Chargers team just has too much weapons. They are too well disciplined. I think that they are too tough, and I think they overtake this Houston Texans team. I go Chargers by at least 10.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm just looking at the Texans schedule here. And outside of that Bills game early on, like who did they really even beat that was real? They They get blown out by the Ravens 31-2. They lose to the Chiefs. They won a sloppy game 20-12 against the Dolphins. They barely beat the Jags. They lost to the Titans. They lost to the Lions. They lost to the Packers. There's just not a lot of wins that make you feel good about this Texans team. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the Patriots. They beat the Jags earlier this season. They beat the Bears. There's not a single win on here other than the Bills win where I go, yeah, I could feel like I could look at this playoff team and feel good about their chances going into this one. I think Chargers run away with this, and Texans really have to get back to the drawing board and see what is our identity, because they have a guy in CJ Stroud and they went heavy on the offensive weapons on the outside, but then they became a run heavy team with Joe Mixon. But then at the end of the season, they're trying to throw it. So I really think they need to figure out what they are on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, credit to D'Amico Ryans, because even on an off year, you can get 10 wins and make the playoffs. You got to feel good about that, at least. I don't think that they get a playoff win, but at least, hey, if this is going to be the lowest that we go, I'll take it. You know what I mean? We've seen way worse as the Houston Texans.
Yeah, you guys let us know how you're feeling, Texans or Chargers.